Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Halo Sobat Literasi, selamat berjumpa kembali dengan saya Blantik Literasi, berliterasi setiap hari.
About consuming passion, the culture of American consumption,
about global lifestyle under local conditions,
about video dreams, television and cultural forms,
root identities in post-authoritarian politics,
about the Hollywood sign, the culture of American film,
utopian, dreams, semiotics, and the new media.
American makeover, constructing identity in the age of entertainment,
consumption patterns of the South Korean middle class and new generations, and middle class formation and consumption in Hong Kong.
The endemic world of the high consumer, fashion and cultural formation.
about consuming Asian ideas and issues.
Brought to you by Design of Advertising. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 2. My name is Inasamatul Musyaidah, and with my friends.
My name is Adeliana Bilavira Ramadhani.
And here we want to present brought to you by Design of Advertising. Before we want to explain about it, we see one of the video. Maybe this. All right, so wait a sec. All right, so from one of the advertisement before, we can see that it is from the Super Bowl around 2004, and at the time, there are a trend from popular sitcom series called The Office. So from the trend of The Office, it brings the aura which make advertiser making sale from these popular sitcom series.
The association between the ads and television series indicates that there is a system involved here within which we can determine their larger cultural significance. Next.
So when things get tough, the talk gets sentimental. So office jobs were not fun in 2010, but it was better than being employed. So at the time, having a job is not an easy way. But when we get a job, it seems like something boring. So it means that if you don't like it, then leave it. But this affects advertisement about job such service, because when they make too much humor about job search service, it makes the unemployed viewers get insult. And when it too realistic, it will be a drama for the unemployed viewers because it's too real to them. So what they do then, so they make this advertisement, they choose popularly sentimentally, a very common appeal when things get tough in America. So in this video, they are rather than using the real human, they use a beaver as their character here. So there is a humor, but there are also the realistic about looking for a job. We get next.
And here's the pitch. Advertisements are the sequence of cultural desires and consciousness. We could make a deliberate movement from objective denotation to objective connotation by transforming things into sequence. It is a psychological strategy designed not only to inform about products but also persuade us to buy them. America is indeed an adult culture, a society saturated with advertising. Next.
So as the time goes
as the times goes by, it is getting harder for advertisers to get our attention. Examples make television ads as if they were MTV videos for youth market by showing rapid jump cuts, rap or rock music, and designing montage effects. Self-conscious irony is also a popular technique as advertisers strive to overcome the ad-savvy sophistication of generations of consumers who have become skeptical of advertising plays. A marketing strategy known as still advertising has appeared in selected locations. Next. As the years pass and the national mood shifts with the tides of history, new advertising techniques will emerge. Next. The Semiotic Foundation. The Semiotic Foundation, it has long been known that advertising uses image of desire for actual products, selling image of pleasure or popularity or mere celebrities. Next. By setting desirable image for concrete needs, modern advertising seeks to transform desire into necessity, especially in early in the century. If it is worked otherwise, it will simply present you with a functional profile of a product and let you decide whether it will do the job. Next. The commodification of desire. Associating a logically unrelated desire with an actual product can be called the commodification of desire. The commodification of desire, in other words, desire itself becomes the product that the advertiser is selling. Next. While the basic logic of advertising may be similar, from era to era, the content of an ad and hence its significance differs as popular culture changes. Next. Populism versus elitism. Swing between elitist and populist approaches in advertising reflects a basic division within the American term itself, a mythic promise that at once celebrates democratic equality and encourages you to rise above the crowd to be better than anyone else. The populist appeal of the 70s gave way to the elitist 80s and advertising followed. The 90s brought in a different kind of advertising that was neither populist, elitist, but was characterized by a cutting, edgy humor. Edgy advertising appealed to 20-something consumers who were coveted by the marketers, who might possibly circuit-oriented television network as Fox and the WB. First in the Saturday Night Live area, some consumers were accustomed to cutting humor and particularly receptive to anything that smacked of attitude and idiocy to get their attention. Advertisers followed with attitude-laden advertising. Next.
So here's the one of the advertisement in 1940 about when you come home. So here is the fire extinguishers advertisement. Well, it's related to that time while women tend to have feeling there's possession and possible disaster. So it's related to this advertisement for that time. And here's the article about James B. Twitchell, What We Are to Advertiser. So mass production means mass marketing, and mass marketing means the creation of mass startup as one of the advertisement advance called as consumption communities. As full-grown consumer, we stabilize in our buying and hence meaning-making patterns. Advertisers soon lose interest in us, not just because we stop buying, but because we have stopped changing brands. The object of advertising is not just to brand parity objects, but also to brand consumers as they have through these various communities. At the macro level, the task of advertising is to convince different sets of consumers that the quarter they observe is somehow different in meaning and value that the same quarter seen by their across the track's neighbors. In XPIC, it is called positioning. So it means that the object of much consumer research is not to try to twist their feathers so they will flock to your products, but it is to position your products in such a place that they will have to fly by it and perhaps stop to roast. For example, like when we want to eat fast food, we know that McDonald's not trying to twist our taste, choose of taste when we want to eat fast food, but McDonald's try to positioning their products. So when we want to eat fast food, we automatically thinking about McDonald's itself. So it is the example of positioning. Although agencies have their own system for naming these groups and their lifestyle, the current supplier of much more data about them, it is from the not-profit organization called SRI, Stanford Research Institute. So SRI itself having the psychographic system called FALS, now is FALS 2 plus, short for values and lifestyle system. And this system is more resources each group has, the more likely they will buy products, services, and experiences of the group they associate with. Customers are also motivated by such inevitables as principles, status, and action. So here the diagram of FALS 2. When SRI describe these various audience, they peel apart like this. So there's actualizer, full-fits, achiever, experiencers, believers, doers, makers, and stalkers. So here the description about actualizer, full-fit, and believers. So maybe you all can read it because it is too long. And then next is their achiever and strivers, which in the middle of the diagram. And there are experiencers, makers, and struggles. Struggles, it is in the below of all this diagram. When in the above, is there is actualizers. The numbers can be broken down at every stage, allowing for marital status, education, household size, dependent children, home ownership, household income, and occupation. More interesting still is the ability to accurately predict the appearance of certain goods in each grouping. When one realizes the fabulous expense of communicating meaning for a product, the simple-mindedness of a system like false plus becomes less visible. The next will explain by my friends.
Okay, thank you, Ines. Steve creates man's man and woman's woman. Men's and woman's woman, men and woman both drink beer, but we often guys that from the television ads that pick beer as a guy beverage and a society beer drinking with such guys things as fishing trips, bars, and pips. Steve Grates provides a step-by-step analysis of four television commercials showing how advertisers carefully craft their ads to appeal, respectively, to male and female consumers. A professor in the Department of Radio, Television, and Film at the University of North Texas, Craig has written widely on television, radio, history, and gender and media. Next.
Okay, that's the end of our presentation. Thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.